Sadango, and it's definitely an inspired afternoon. I must say, we're going to be speaking to guests that are really, should we say, enticing us into spaces to make so many differences. And that's what we're going to be talking about this afternoon. It is the month of Ramadan, and we need to learn to reflect, retrospect, and of course give, because that's it's a month of giving. It's a month of understanding um, what sort of spaces we're in and how we can help others and empower themselves, sustain themselves, help them get a better connection with their creator. And of course, creating that support structure where we all go out and create this united front where we help each other through the types of things we are going through. And talking about that, I want to take the opportunity to thank the people in my community who have stood together through many challenges that we've been facing these past couple of weeks and helping each other get through it. So it's actually an honor being a part of the Homestead Park community. But going forward, talking about giving back and kindness, I want to talk about an NPO that has been really making differences. They've called for humanity, a registered NGO which is based in South Africa. The NGO was established by ulama with the objective to assist other alims facing difficult times, which I think is so important. During the first weekend of March, the For Humanity team traveled to Cape Town for their pilot relief project, which is to assist ulama in need of homes. They visited the homes of imams and alims in an area called Tafelsig in Mitchell's Plain. And as we know, Mitchell's Plain currently houses approximately, should we say, 500,000 Muslims, mostly living in poverty. Two of the alims visited these cabins with their families of 8 and 6. Also, For Humanity, it got registered in February 2021 as an NPO in South Africa with the aim of providing assistance to the most needy and vulnerable people of our society. And on the line with me, I have Maulana Arshad Fakir, the Executive Director of For Humanity, and he's going to be giving us more insight into what they do. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakallah so much for joining us this beautiful Wednesday afternoon in Ramadan to be able to make us understand the importance of giving. And of course, for those that are forgotten. And I think a lot of the times, sometimes we tend to shed light only on one issue and not realize that there are others that are facing different challenges. And bringing light to that, I think, is very important. So, Malala, talk to us about For Humanity.
Jazakumullah for giving us the opportunity. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to yourself and the listeners of Salam Media. As you have mentioned in the introduction, that For Humanity was established around February, and our main objective was to assist our ulama in need. As we are aware, especially after last year when we came and COVID has hit us, and there were many, unfortunately, who lost some of their jobs. Alhamdulillah, many still kept as teachers, ulama, ustads, imams. But many ulama had secondary jobs or they used to sell something so that they could continue living a good life. As we are aware that unfortunately we find that in our Muslim community, not every alim will earn a very or livable salary or wage. And especially the area that we're tackling was the Tafelsig area or Mitchell's Plain or Cape Town itself. We visited many homes there. And that's when we came and realized that, there's a need for us. Before actually visiting Cape Town, we had calls from many friends and colleagues who were going through some type of difficulty, but did not want to go out to the general public or to our bigger organizations as they were feeling shy or whatever it may be. Then, alhamdulillah, while discussing with a few friends and colleagues, also ulama, some of them who holds quite high positions in Islamic financial homes, etc., houses, and they serve on many Islamic financial boards. So they said, give it a go and let's start this type of organization. And like I said, our main objective was to assist our ulama in need. And yes, if anybody comes along and they fulfill the criteria of what we look at when assisting, then we will do that. Another thing, we felt that there are many organizations. So it's not like someone asked the question that perhaps you are duplicating. Yes, we do not want to duplicate what other organizations are doing.
That's right.
So if a particular organization is working in a particular area, and we get, for example, someone sends us an application or calls us to say, you know what, I'm in need, the first thing we do is we contact that organization or the organizations working in that particular area to see perhaps they have helped this family, or what is the reason they couldn't get to this family, and then we'll work together. And also, if there's a need, we felt that sometimes we find, alhamdulillah, a lot of our organizations are doing sterling work in our country. Many people are giving towards feeding projects. We have hampers, etc. And sometimes there's a need where perhaps a person don't need a hamper, but he will need assistance in rental. So, or he needs assistance in paying his electricity. And we find that, unfortunately, that is not very much easy available to many people. So that's when we, for humanity, will come in, inshallah, to see if we have the funds, and working with the other organizations again to see that what this person was helped with. And then we will see that, okay, if this person was given food, if he's given a hamper, etc., we will then assist with maybe school fees, or we will assist with paying rentals, etc. In that way, we'll be able to help more people, and more people will be able to get a broader aspect of help, inshallah. Coming to the
I like your idea of actually having to determine each one's challenge, because a lot of the times people and NPOs go into an area and deal with, should we say, the general issues and challenges that people are facing, and then that's what happens many a time. But I like the idea that you brought up, the fact that you go to specific places and homes and determine each one's challenge, because as we know, everybody's challenge isn't the same. So having determined that is like you're literally helping them empower themselves in some way, and then finding that way to, of course, create that sustainability for them also.
Yes, definitely. And another thing that we're looking at, and especially when we went to Cape Town, we found that unfortunately poverty is much of a higher scale in Cape Town, in the Muslim community, especially in Mitchell's Plain and those type of areas, compared to other parts in our country. I'm not saying there isn't in other parts, but comparative to the other areas that people normally work in. We found that, alhamdulillah, a lot of, especially I've been looking at the ulama, a lot of them together with studied and becoming an alim and serving the community, many of them have some skill where they can be entrepreneurs or they can be artisans, etc. And we're looking at also, inshallah, as soon as more funding come in, then what we will be doing is, already we have started with one or two, that they need to come to us with a business plan and see what they are good in. And if they need particular, for example, they need certain equipment. I remember we visited one alim, and alhamdulillah, he's an upholsterer. And he does, when I seen some of his work, really good work he's doing, but he doesn't have the resources. He needs certain machines, etc. So we have asked him to send us what he needs, and then obviously get us quotes, and we'll also do our homework and see how we can assist him. In that way, you rather help him so he can fend for himself. And yes, we'll give him assistance where we can, but get him on his feet, and so that not only is he a person of receiving zakat or help, but he will be somebody, inshallah, who will be able to assist the next person as well.
I think that's an amazing concept, because the thing is, you're not just only punting on one thing. Being an alim is an amazing thing, but as you said, with the constraints that we're facing, it's good to see that they have a backup plan as well, so they can do two things at the same time, and keep themselves empowered and sustained, which I think is absolutely imperative. It's nice to see your NPO reaching out to the alims, and then ulama helping ulama, because I think a lot of the times I think people take it for granted that they already have that particular help.
Yes, definitely. And when we seen, as I said, when we sat and analyzed, we found that unfortunately many of the ulama are not getting that assistance that they were supposed to get. And like I said in the beginning, some of them are shy to go out to their communities and reach out to them and ask that, what, we need certain things, we are going through difficulty, therefore it was there was this need, and we make dua, and we hope that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can use us in fulfilling the needs of the ulama, and those also who are in need in our country, and inshallah in our neighboring countries as well.
A lot of should we say, light has been shed on Mitchell's Plain itself. But let's get a perspective from your side. Paint us a picture on really how bad it is there, and the needs of the people, because I think people don't really understand the seriousness of the situation in that area. I've tapped into many a times with other NPOs and realized that there's so many people that have got other challenges besides the ulama themselves, having to face so many things, gangsterism, drugs, those types of things. What sort of support structure do you think that your NPO can do to help out with that, with the others? Is it a collaboration you'd like to do? What do you see yourself doing in the future to be able to, of course, should we say, change the environment that they're living in? Because as I know, when I've done some research on these types of areas, we'll call them rural areas in inverted commas, like these little townships. What happens inevitably, time and again, you find that these young kids from the age of 13 or maybe even younger start getting involved in the negative elements that they face in the area, thinking that is the norm of life. And I think it's imperative for us to educate them about their future and what it means, because I've gone to different townships with some of the NPO work that I do, and it's really scary to see that there's so many young people from the ages of 13 involved in these types of negative connotations, where you would like to, of course, go and try and change their lives for the better.
Yes, definitely. When we visited this area and we seen the people, like you said, you don't understand it until you don't see it. And you spelled it out to say that the difficulties they go through, and from, like you said, young ages of 13 and sometimes even younger, where they get involved in all these wrong type of things and companies, and especially our young girls. Their dignity is taken, their respect is taken at very young ages. I mean, we spoke to so many people, and because of the situation of drugs, and people are at times, they're influenced by, they're intoxicated with liquor, etc. They don't know what they're doing. And this poor young girl may be walking in the street, and suddenly, they just get hold of her. Sometimes she's raped, and she needs to live with that, and she's got nowhere to turn to. And unfortunately, the parents also can't do anything. And then their living conditions. You find that in one particular home, you have like 8, 9 people living in one home with 2 bedrooms. Like you mentioned, with regard to what we had seen, maybe obviously these were with ulama, but there are other people as well, that they're living in wooden cabins and renting a small place in somebody's backyard, and one entire cabin with a family of 8 of them. It's one cabin. They just divide it in sections, putting a curtain, maybe for the parents to have their privacy, and they've got a kitchen, and together what they have a small place for the kids to sleep, and that's it. So the one cabin that we visited, or both, you could say, don't even have proper sanitation. They have to wait to use the bathroom and the toilet facilities of the people that they're renting from. So that is the situation they're living there. And 8 members, 6 members to one cabin. Likewise, what we need to do, I think, we hope, inshallah, working together, like I said, with other NGOs and other organizations, then we'll be able to assist them. What we need to do is see what we need see how we can educate them. Most important is to see that are they getting sufficient education. We need to see that whether they are going to school, whether they have been educated, whether they're going to madrasa. A big thing we have found there as well, while we were driving in the Staffelsig area, we find that there are so many churches and there's only 1 or 2 masjids. So it shows that the effort is being made also, that how many people are inviting them towards Christianity, etc. And many people, we spoke to the one alim, and he said many people are because of the situation they're living and the vulnerable situation they are in, unfortunately, they get enticed by these type of people who come and afford them help, etc. And then they actually don't know, but they slip away and they leave the fold of Islam. So most important is to work together and see that how, number one, we can educate the youth, give them some type of dignity, and empower them. The main thing is empowering people who are in need, because it must not be that all their life they are just there and waiting for handouts. Another thing that we decide.
I love that outlook of yours, because I have the same outlook. What I always say on the show is not about just giving them something for now, saying, here's your pack of food or here's your hamper or whatever. It's been, and I love the idea that your NPO is doing that, because that's what I say, is having to go out there, empower, so that you create a permanent sustainability, so they themselves can teach others to become sustainable as well. And that's what it's about, because then we're going to have a better society where, and as you say, through education, they're going to understand that the principles and ethics and the norm of what is happening in their environment is not construable. It's not the right thing that they're doing, especially when it comes to the negative elements like drugs and gangsterism and those types of things. Mitchell's Plain, as we know, is an area where that kind of situations are rife. It's happening every single minute of the day. So I think it's also about the communities around us to be able to get involved. So how would you, what sort of advice would you give us as the public to say that we can try and help you create a better society and a better Mitchell's Plain?
Sure. Okay, first and foremost, currently, as we see, we have started our first project that we would like to do is giving and getting 2 homes, purchasing 2 homes for 2 of our ulama. And why I say, people may ask that, why are you only at the moment, concentrating on these ulama? First and foremost, we must understand that the ulama is our leaders. And if our leaders cannot live a decent life, and they then have to go and look for help, etc., they won't have much time to give off their, make effort on the people that they're looking after and they're supposed to look after. So first and foremost, we want to...
I agree with you, because they're our guides. They're the guidance. They're the ones that are going to go out there and give those people the necessary education and guidance that they need to get onto the right path and start making a life for themselves.
Yes, definitely. So the first thing we started, our first project that we're trying to collect for during this Ramadan is our ulama housing project. And we're looking at approximately 700,000 to purchase 2 homes. A home around in that area is between 300 to 350,000. So that is what we need to collect. Alhamdulillah, there was 1 or 2 organizations which had come on board as well. And thus far, and a few individuals, and alhamdulillah, thus far we collected approximately 190,000. So we still got quite a bit, but inshallah, as soon as the first amount comes in for the first home, and while we're collecting, we are looking for houses. We are busy speaking to estate agents. We are speaking to people on the ground there as well. And need be, we'll take a few trips as well to see what we're looking for. And that's the first step we want to do. Together with that, we have started our trying to, like I said, empower those who are in need. If someone has a particular skill, so we're collecting money for that as well. And the funds which can be collected or can be donated, we can use our zakah funds, because these our people are zakatable. Secondly, we can use any lillah, sadaqah, etc. And in that way, we'll be able to, inshallah, we hope we can reach our target as soon as possible, and then continue with another project, inshallah.
Malana, if anybody would like to reach out to you and, of course, help make a difference, how would they get a hold of you?
They may contact me on my cell phone number. It's 083 443 5531. That's 083 443 5531. Or they may email me. The email address is admin@4humanity, FORHUMANITY.co.za. So admin@4humanity.co.za. I'm also quite active on Facebook, going under Maulana Arshad Fakir Chopdat, as well as Twitter, and on Instagram as well, inshallah. And I will leave the details, inshallah, later at the Salam Media Studios, so that people may contact me, inshallah.
There we go. So the contact number is up on screen. It's 083 443 5531. If you'd like to make a difference in the Mitchell's Plain area, then definitely get a hold of Maulana. I think it's imperative that we turn these people's lives around for a better, and we're creating a better society and a better South Africa. And that's what it's all about. In South Africa, we call it Ubuntu. And we want to actually thank you for the amazing work that you're doing in that area to be able to turn people's lives around. And that's what it's about, empowerment and sustainability. Maulana, what message would you like to leave us with this afternoon?
Inshallah, as we all aware, that we need to look and assist. First and foremost, we need to see our living conditions and those who live below the breadline and those who are suffering, etc. Then thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the bounties that Allah has given us. And one of the ways, and showing appreciation to Allah for what He has given us is for us to reach out to others and assist others. And also take cue from our beloved Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, especially as we know that it is said regarding Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that he was the most generous person. And even in the month of Ramadan, he was even more generous. So somebody who's generally generous and in the month of Ramadan more generous. So we need to take heed from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And remember, we are in the Mubarak and blessed month of Ramadan. And it is mentioned in a hadith of Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had made mention that a caller calls out. A caller calls out that, oh, those who are seeking to do good, aqbil, go forward and do the good. So that is my message today. Let's not wait for another day. As soon as that thought comes in our heart and a thought comes in our mind that I want to do good, don't wait and say, I'll do it tomorrow. Immediately stand up, do that good, and you will see that will bring you closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it is not only, I always mention this, it is not only to bring a smile on the face of people, but we need to bring a smile in the hearts of people. I ask yourself as well as the listeners of Salam Media to make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He gives us the opportunity to continue and keep us with steadfastness and give us the ability to look after those who are in need and be of support to people, whoever it can be, especially in this difficult time that we are going through. There are many orphans, there are many widows who have lost their loved ones due to COVID, etc. I know of a family who lost the entire family and only left behind with 2 children. Both, one is both young children, 7 and 16 years of age. And nobody to look after them. They got no really family.
Very sad indeed. But Mulana, Jazakallah for your message. And we want to thank you so much for joining us this afternoon and shedding some light on the issues that are being experienced in Mitchell's Plain so people can help you to be able to reach out. And of course, as I said earlier, assist in trying to change the situation that these people are in. And we wish you nothing but the best going forward. And inshallah, we're hoping that the viewers will support you to be able to help make those differences. From myself and the team, have a lovely Ramadan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And same to you. Jazakumullah.
That was Maulana Arshad Fakir, the Executive Director of For Humanity, teaching us about the issues of uplifting, empowerment, and sustainability in the Mitchell's Plain area to be able to change those people's lives for nothing but the better. Stay with us. We'll be back with you in